Good morning. Good
Hi.
morning. Good morning. Welcome to Broadscast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in, co-host Kim Goldman.
Yeah, hi. Dragging me too.
So it's September 11th, 2015. I almost said 19-something.
I said 2007 yesterday, so we're good.
Yeah, I have myself convinced I'm 33, but that's okay. So it's 9/11, as you know, unless you're living under a rock.
Right.
And, we're acknowledging and commemorating the Twin Towers and all of the people who've lost their lives today.
Yeah. Just on that comment, I was talking to my son this morning on his way to school, and I said, today is, and he said 9/11, and I said, do you know what it means? Because we always have that talk. And he said, yeah, it's about the Twin Towers. And I said, and he said, and the Pentagon. And I said, and he said, and the plane that went, he knew everything.
Wow.
And,
Good.
Well, I think we forget. I mean, Twin Towers
that's
is
the
just
only one, because it's like this big visual.
Right. And my heart breaks for the families of the other crashes and the other trauma too. So
and the heroes on Flight 93.
Yeah,
that one is. But speaking of heroes, today's episode is honoring those everyday heroes, people who maybe walked out the door in the morning and didn't really think that they would have an opportunity to save lives or make a difference, and which happens every single day. And there are heroes among us all the time that are many of whom are never acknowledged.
And I would say true heroes. I think that word gets thrown around so cavalierly that I certainly feel very strongly that a hero is someone that sacrifices of themselves and does noble acts, and it's not just someone that managed to get to a job interview on time, because they raced through the freeway.
Right.
system,
and I was reading on BuzzFeed. It was an article that was written last year. The sister of somebody who was killed in the Twin Towers, and their family was quick to say that their daughter and sister wasn't a hero. She was at work early, and it was the people who ran into the building that they find to be the real heroes.
Yeah.
But later in the show, we're going to speak not only to a hero, Scarlett Lewis, but the mom of a hero,
Jesse Lewis.
Jesse, who was in Newtown, 6-year-old boy in the Sandy Hook shooting, who, while the shooter was reloading, yelled for the other kids to run.
After he watched his teachers get shot. So,
for him to be able to just
have the
step
wherewithal
up and have that and save how many lives, we have no idea. I don't, maybe you do. I don't know how many children had run at that point and actually been saved before he was shot. So we're going to talk to his mom, who's carrying on his legacy.
Yes, Scarlett.
Yes, and later on we'll also hear someone who's in their everyday life honoring heroes. So you'll have to stay tuned for that.
I'm gonna.
Are you?
I'm gonna
stick around.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's move on to somebody who's not a hero for a second.
On a lighter note.
Yeah. Right.
Good segue.
Well, actually, before we do that, someone else who's a hero. I missed one for a second.
Oh, you missed?
I got a little distracted. But an update on a previous story.
Christy ODonnell.
Christy ODonnell, who was here and a few episodes back, or a couple months ago, talking about the right to die and her fight to make that okay in California.
Right, because she's dying, she has terminal cancer, and she wants to die with dignity. And currently, at that time, state of California didn't allow you to do that.
Right, and she's been fighting for this for herself, but also to leave a legacy for others in the future.
Right.
And just the other day,
California Assembly passed. It does still sit with the governor, but it has passed in the Assembly, giving terminally ill patients the right to die with dignity, with medical assistance, under the doctor's care.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic. That's very emotional.
That's amazing.
We posted something, and I, to comment on that, and I was really torn because I didn't want to say congratulations because that doesn't seem right. But
right.
There is an element of pride that I can't imagine Chrissy doesn't feel as bittersweet as that is.
Right. And it's, I don't think anybody really wins necessarily, but at the same time, to be able to, we're not in her shoes. And so I can't, when you die from terminal brain cancer, it's not graceful. There are seizures, there are, loss of bodily function. It's just, so for her to fight for that for others, you don't have to take that option.
Right.
If you are terminally ill, it's just there.
Right.
And there, on a side note, our own local assembly members voted against it. So,
I did not know that.
I was reading that this morning. So, and a lot of people are congratulating them for voting against it.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. Like you said, you don't have to do it. It's just an option.
Right.
Just like going to the Ford dealership is an option versus, Toyota. Like, you don't have to go if you don't want to. Just turn it off, go the other way, or don't participate.
Well, speaking of, that's a great segue, because the woman pulled off a YouTube for her. She's supposedly a comedian, okay? So I should use my air quotes, because she did a video called Dear Fat People, and she went on and pretty much gave them a hard time for putting things in their mouth that they shouldn't, and getting, exercising, and she's trying to be funny. It's visually stimulating, one woman on camera YouTube video, and YouTube pulled it off. Right. Like, pulled it down. And, people said she was fat shaming and this and that. Now, I think the biggest problem with her video is that it's not funny. And so if to call yourself a comedian, you should probably attempt to actually
And it was really long.
It was so long. So, someone needs to give her YouTube 101, first of all. But secondly, I don't know how I feel with Donald Trump talking about, our presidential candidate talking about Mexicans as, who come to the U.S. as being rapists and low-life scum and this and that, and other people who say things that are so absolutely offensive, like, this is what we're choosing? Yeah. It just seems strange to me.
Is it the stereotyping that she did, or is it the fact that she was, what was unfortunate, listen, I don't get offended that easily. And I wasn't in the beginning. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh God, this is going on a little too long. And now it's really negative. I didn't realize that my son was listening. I thought he had his headphones on, and he even said something. But I didn't know if it was the stereotyping, if it was just the unnecessary element of it. And the fact that she was trying, I think, to talk about the health component got so buried. And I don't even know if that was legit.
She's not a doctor, too.
I don't know what the purpose behind it was. I don't understand the purpose behind it.
She got to get attention. Yeah. She wanted people to see her, and that worked, because you can still find that video other places, and including on our Facebook page. But now we're pulling stuff off because she's body shaming. Here's the deal. I'm not going to go and say things that, fat people, and make some big generalization, because every single person has their own story. But why wouldn't you just let the people defend themselves, or let people know what they think of her video?
Well, and I also think that on top of that, who's making those decisions at YouTube? Because there are plenty of videos on YouTube that are really disgusting and violent, and promoting violence amongst kids, and the bystander component of people beating the crap out of each other, and no one, that stuff is all still there.
Yes.
So I don't understand.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. It's why are we choosing this? Because it's popular, and so YouTube can also make some sort of political statement. Right. Look at, where does it stop and where does it begin? It just seems so baffling to me.
So do you think it's censorship, or do you just think it's...
Well, it's not necessarily... I don't know. Is it? It's a private site. They can make their choices. Right.
I don't know. I guess I go back to what I said before. Choose to watch, choose not to watch, choose to combat what she said, and have smart arguments. Like the woman, I'm forgetting her name right now, that did the video as a response to the Dear Fat People video. I'm totally forgetting her name right now. And she was very emotional for her, and she talked a lot about being on YouTube and how it's therapeutic for her, and how she uses that venue to share and educate and expose and to teach. And I think that's really healthy. Now, are we going to pull that down because it's opposite of what somebody else? I just don't. When does it end? Where you're at?
Doesn't Westboro Baptist, or what are they called? Don't they have videos?
Yeah. It's ridiculous what you can find on YouTube.
Exactly. So on the other side of that, there's a dad.
Segue.
We are we're going to start driving a Segway. See what I did there?
You did.
That's like a double segue.
Ish.
Anyway, there's a dad going viral.
Yeah, and he's hot too.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I
only looked him up to see if he was available. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun video.
Yeah, he's cute. Okay, so his son got 2 birthday gifts that were the same, so he brought him back to the store to exchange, and the kid chose a Little Mermaid, like Barbie-ish type doll. And so the dad was like, this is what he chose, and how should dads react? And the kid's like, yeah, you know,
Screaming.
super
So
cute.
cute.
And the guy is hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. So I think that is certainly part of it. Like if dad were like a couch potato, you know, eating Doritos, that maybe it wouldn't be as
The bod dad, if he had the dad bod.
the dad bod. Yeah.
He's not.
But this guy is very attractive. So anyway, his video is being shared everywhere, and you know, he's being seen as, like you were saying, like that loosely labeled hero.
Yeah.
For embracing. Now, I don't know.
You think it's too much?
No, because I think
I did. I loved the video, but I'm like, really? This is like, I guess I don't know if it's because the dad supported it that people were so excited.
Yes,
I mean,
I think so.
And then there were people that said, I do this all the time. I just didn't videotape it.
Right. Well, the thing is, he did not share it everywhere. Other people did. So
Right.
he just shared a video to make his point.
Right. He's also a film
Yes. He knows what he's
producer.
doing.
Right. And mind you, I looked him up. He has an awesome company called Elevate, and they do great work about humanity.
We don't have a restraining order, do we?
No, I just mean because
everyone knows, you know,
I'm
Kim is
curious.
single.
I'm always curious as to about what. I'm always curious as to the motivation behind things.
Right.
And so I looked deeper into it, and he has a company that promotes, you know, human kindness and community, and so it seems like he's trying to be a do-gooder. So I'm sure there was some motivation behind it.
There's always motivation behind it.
because there was a follow-up video to it that was highly produced.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, a lot of people do struggle with letting go of gender norms. I mean, this has been my own story, you know, with my daughter, who now has a purple mohawk.
Yeah.
Or faux hawk, but you know, it took me a long time, and we go into stores, and even just at Trader Joe's the other day, and the guy was like, hey dude, you want the lollipop? Every day. No, I mean, not every day, but every time we are in public, somebody refers to. The other day I was at a birthday party, and someone said, what's it like to have 3 boys? And I said, I don't know, I have 2 boys and a girl. Like, you know, I normally don't say anything because she's actually requested I not say anything.
Right.
She's got earrings, you know, and she's adorable, but she's got this hair, and she is 8, so there's not, you know, and especially when she wears like a uniform to school, she looks like everybody else,
right?
You know, so you just, and that's fine. It used to bother me a lot, and now I don't know when it just stopped, and it's a process for every parent. So it's great that dad is like, hey, Little Mermaid, is he exploiting his son? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that feels like in the wake of so much horror and despair and darkness that we experience on a daily basis, that it was kind of fun to see something playful, something progressive, something that we should be doing. I love the comment that he made about no matter what your choices, I'm going to love you. I wish that more people, my stomach is gurgling, excuse me. I wish more people were willing to be outspoken about that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I kind of like the tongue-in-cheek. Listen, you posted something, I forget exactly what it was, but you had such great response to it because you just wanted to highlight something that was amazing in your life. And I think we forget to do that, and we forget. And I kind of like when people get excited over that and they share it and they talk about it, because
and that's and
I'd rather see that than, you know, videos of people beating the crap out of each other that we're so willing to share too.
And if there are other dads who are worried about it, you know, it's great to kind of like, it's a little sign like, hey bud, you know, we got your back, like let's do this. But you know, like I said, it's a process for a lot of parents, and not everybody gets there as quickly maybe as that guy.
Right.
You know, it took me a while because I've always wanted a daughter, and I walk around and people call her dude or him, or, you know, and ultimately it's her life.
So when you watched the video, what did you take from it?
I was happy that a dad, because often, I mean, not in the case in my house, because my husband is.
Well, why just a dad? I mean, you're struggling with it as a mom.
I'm not struggling with. I mean, I was, but I think that dads, even more so sometimes, get not. I mean, this is a generalization. Get wrapped up in what it's supposed to look like,
right?
Because they're also raised in a way that girls aren't always, that this is how it's supposed to look. Don't cry, man up, all that stuff.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the dad's fault that he feels this way, because it's kind of ingrained in him until he starts to open up. So it may be a process. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Some people are just born that way and they're raised that way. And I hope to raise, my kids that way, that they're open and they don't have to necessarily process it.
Right.
But, give people a break too. It's like, oh my God, Peter. I looked over at
So Peter, what do you think? Did you see, the video that we're talking about?
Did you see the dad?
You didn't notice the hot guy probably, but
Peter was making funny faces. That's why I was laughing.
I did not see this video.
So yes, it's
okay.
He just, the long and short of it is his son wanted a
5 years old
Little Mermaid doll, and the dad was like, "Hey, I love you anyway. I love you."
Well, he first made the comment. He's like, "How I don't know how I felt, like this was a shock when my kid wanted a Barbie," and then he kind of made a face like, "Oh, what do I do?" And then he said, "I'm going to love you anyway," and the kid was screaming and excited. So
that's good. I can only hope that my parents would do the same for me if I wanted mermaid dolls as a kid.
Right.
I always wanted Spider-Man toys as a kid, but it reminds me of a day, I guess my first sleepover was this kid named Michael. I don't know how old I was, but he was right under I was second story, he was first story, and he had nothing but Barbie dolls.
Oh.
And I remember this a little bit as a kid because I cried. I wanted to go home because he didn't have any of my
anything
toys.
You liked.
Anything I liked at all. But we were still friends, and one day, I guess, both of our parents decided, why don't you just bring your toys over and they can be together.
Oh,
there you go.
So there.
It was, at first, it was the worst thing ever. Your kid goes over to his first sleepover. He's there for 10 minutes. When I want to go home. I hate it here. The next day, a very good, I don't know, when you guys are talking about this story, it reminded me, set me right back.
Yeah. So obviously your parents did have the understanding and the acceptance, and they knew. I mean, I think it's really hard. No matter what, you have an idea of what it's supposed to look like based on who knows what. I mean, I had similar expectations of what my marriage and my home life and my kid, I don't know where that comes from, but it's in there.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't exactly look like what you dreamt it to be, you have to adjust. And some people, like you said, have a harder time adjusting than others. But
yeah, I mean, I think that life has been a series of, this is the way it's going to be. Haha, no, it's not. I mean, so at some point you just have to kind of, what's the word there? Resolve or give in to the unexpected. Yeah. I mean, again, though, it's a process. I'm just happy to be at a better side of my particular process. And now I get to do cool mohawks. So, all right, so next week, before we go into break and then to our guests, next week, have you seen the viral video where it's to the song "I Can't Feel My Face," and it's about the mom who is getting the kids back to school.
What is she say? I can't get my space, or give me my space.
I can't until you're back at school. Yeah, I totally butchered that, but and I love it. So it's going. It's everywhere. And
did you know that song was about drugs? I can't feel my face.
I had I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
We
Someone
had
said
this
it's about
debate.
drugs.
We actually had this debate at work at Fab Life, which premieres next Monday.
Were you the one that put it up? Yeah.
But it's I can't feel my face is actually a reference to drugs. But another one,
love.
Well, I
thought it was because you're smiling so much. That's what I thought. This is how lame. I'm so disconnected.
I thought it was just love.
But here's the other thing, that maybe their love is so intense though that it feels like drugs. I mean, it's one. I don't know. Got to listen to it. But anyway, this viral video is a much better version and something you could probably play in front of.
We need to challenge it. We need to do one of those.
What?
Do a parody.
Oh, we totally.
We should have our listeners.
Remember, we were going to do the iCarly parody.
Oh my God, we should still. Oh, no, our credit's off the air.
Yeah, we'll do something else though. Yeah. But she's going to be on next week in studio. Woo-hoo. Jess, who
maybe she'll sing for us.
Yeah, and her YouTube page. I don't know how to say it. I only see it. It's like Shuggy Lipo or something.
Oh.
Lipo. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Well, she'll clarify.
SHUGIL.
All right, so we're going to go to break, and after we come back, we're going to have a friend of mine, Scarlett Lewis, who's the mom of Jesse Lewis, who lost his life in 2012. And we hope you stay tuned right here on Broadscast.